What's going on, winners? It's your boy Loso 2.0. And today we're going to talk about 8 different tips learned from interviewing with the devil. Now, before we get started with that, housekeeping things, you can follow me on all of my social media platforms at Carlos J. Henry with a Z.com. And on there as well, you can subscribe to my newsletter, which teaches you how to effectively communicate and hold yourself accountable in order to grow yourself professionally or personally in a quarter at a time. You can also purchase a copy of my Winner's Win book, which in my Winner's Win book will actually give you a starting guide in order to achieve these goals in a quicker amount of time. You can also get on my podcast or apply to be on my podcast, where you can also drop gems to young minority entrepreneurs. And then, of course, you can also reach out to me to see if we could work together in order to maximize on your own traffic to make them pay for anything that you offer them, stay with you for a lifetime, and refer anybody to you. Now, the 8 things that we learned. So, first, let's get something clear. The devil is not this red horned creature that lives in a fiery abyss below the earth. Okay. And the devil, it really is, we all have the devil in us, just like we all have a God in us. It's the law of polarity, right? You have both. Okay. Now, or the angel, just like we have the devil and we are God. Now, the devil really is an enemy or anything against you, right? So, the first thing about the devil or the enemy or thing against you is that it likes to be idolized. So anything you give attention to is what's going to, whatever you give attention to, that's giving it, that power. So if you continue to give stuff attention that is going against you, then you continue to give it that power. You lose that power. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transfer or transform. So if you're giving it to them, you're not giving it to your higher self or spiritual side. You're giving it to more to that physical lower self, which is the devil, quote unquote. He also controls 98% of the population, which is number two. 98% of the population. Now think about that. That means the top 1 or 2% of people are successful or in tune with their spiritual side of themselves, right? So the top 2%, right? So he's controlling the majority of them because they're putting so much power towards this lower self, towards that they're not focusing on seeking the truth or seeking something higher than themselves and getting themselves better. Number three is he also occupies half, and God occupies the other half of things you do. Like I said, it goes back to the law of polarity. Everybody has a devil in them, just like everybody has an angel inside of them as well. It's law of polarity. They're both one and the same, though, right? So if you give your attention more to your higher, your spiritual self, or that God that's within you, because we were all made in the likeness and image of the Most High, so we're gods ourselves, then you also still have to give, there's going to be times you're going to give attention to your physical side. We all have, everybody, nobody's perfect. Everybody has stuff that they have to work on, things that they have to do in order to grow. Okay. So that is okay. That I'm just letting you know that that is okay. And that you won't have to really, think about that. Another thing is he controls through fear, right? Now, we talked about this. Fear is just your imagination playing the worst case scenario. Okay. So if that's all it is, just fear playing the worst case scenario, then excuse me, then there's no reason to be afraid about anything. But that's how the enemy or the lower self controls us. He doesn't want you to take those risks. He doesn't want you to do things that you're not comfortable with. And remember, I told you this plenty of times before. My coach from college will always tell me, be comfortable being uncomfortable. That is what you need to do. So he controls people through fear by making them afraid to be uncomfortable. But you're going to have to be uncomfortable in order to make any type of strides that you want in your life or your business or anything that you want, right? The next thing is he's through the fear specifically of death and poverty, right? People are scared to be um, poor and scared to die, right? So if they're scared to be poor and scared to die, then a lot of times that's what their mind is focused on. So if their mind is focused on that, they can't live or they can't focus on being wealthy, right? The quickest way to get rid of a bad habit is not to think about how can I stop doing this habit. The quickest way is to think, what can I do instead? Right? You have to take it completely out of your vocabulary. You got to take poor outside of your vocabulary. I had to take the word if out of my vocabulary, or try. No, it's I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. These are things that are going to happen. Excuse me. Excuse me. So since you have that, you know you can't have that if or anything like that in your vocabulary at all. You have to take the idea of death out of your cap. Like it happens to everyone, yes, but you have to worry about focus living now. So then you want to live life to the fullest because of it. You know what I mean? And for poor, you want to be wealthy as you can because of it, right? So that's why you always got to do. You always have to try to be positive or focus on that stuff, right? Now, he also is enemies. The enemies of the devil are people who can think and people who can act. All right. That's why we talked about before is think and grow rich. The thought is a sixth sense. The devil or the enemy, the lower self, does not want you to think. That's why it's physical, it's the carnal, it's that lower self. It's trying to make you do things that make you focus more on the flesh rather more on the mind or the spirit. So actually, when you start thinking, when you start learning, studying, applying the information, you are against the devil. And then it's think and act, like I said, because knowledge is just accumulating information. Wisdom is applied knowledge. Okay. So you have to actually apply that knowledge that you're learning. All the stuff that I'm learning right now, actually, all the stuff that I'm learning, I'm actually putting into my book right now, right? So all the things that I've been learning, I'm actually putting into working on my second book right now for you guys, right? And when you act, things happen. Something amazing that just happened to me is I just got and like was able to reach out to somebody on my top 100 list and give them a copy. I'm able to send them a copy of my book for free. Just like, yo, just check me out. That's all I'm saying, right? So that is something that's pretty cool too as well, right? People who think and people who act. So you have to act as well, right? Um, and then when you act, things happen. Right now, I'm about to speak into a camp at July. They asked me what I do, and you act first. The stuff comes together. And I talked about this before, right? I used to always say marketing, personal development. Then I started thinking about it. Okay, what has marketing in it? What has like all of this has to come out of one thing, and that's how people think. And I know how people think. I know how to persuade people. So then I changed my thing to a human behavior consultant. That's tough, man. That's tough, right? So that's what you want to think about. And then the last thing is the cigarettes. The devil loves cigarettes, okay? Because it's killing your body regardless, right? So I know that was just a random one as well. I'm thinking maybe because back then, I mean, cigarettes are still a pretty big problem now, though, but he likes that because it breaks down your resistance. Anything that breaks down your resisting to think, he loves that because he hates thinkers and he hates people who act. He just loves workers, right? So that's all I would say with you. Comment below what is the most important thing that you learned from the devil. And, just keep killing the day, man. You guys know this. Winners win, losers lose, and you pray for success like this. 2.0 out.